Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. Can we talk about Gem and the Holograms? Yes, welcome back to our Swatage, the Can We Talk About podcast, which is, I know that I say Can We Talk About at the beginning, but I don't know if I've ever specifically stated that this is the Can We Talk About podcast, specifically Gem.
I think we have.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure to put it in there.
It's in the album art. People know.
Yeah, alright, yeah, that's true. Yeah, 13 episodes waiting for it. I don't know if fucking cares, whatever.
But, we're starting off great here. Real positive energy in the room.
Oh yeah, real positive energy. But let's keep that positive energy going because we're going to be looking at this is a journey into 80s cartoon, air quotes classic, Gem and the Holograms, and all its pastel, crazy 80s glory. And tonight we're reporting from the Music Awards. I am Joe, and I'm here on the red carpet.
I am the 360 degrees fashion cam, Kristen.
Is that a thing? Is that like an E thing?
Yeah, I think I don't know if E trademarked it or something, but they take pictures of people so you can see 360 degrees around. They also do this thing where they have a manicure camera where they have this little box that's set up like a miniature red carpet, and they have people stick their fingers in there, and there's a camera like a GoPro or something in there, and the manicures on the red carpet.
That sounds...
I don't know if they still do that. It's been a while since I've watched any E live from the red carpet thing, I'm sure.
That was back when Joan Rivers was around kind of thing, probably?
No, it was more recent than that.
Oh, okay.
There was a GoPro, I mean, come on.
Oh, that's true, yeah, I should have known. Yep, it's the Music Awards this week, if you didn't know, and we are experiencing Gem and the Holograms through Shout Factory's Gem and the Holograms, a truly outrageous complete series box set, or at least I am. Because, Kristen, you experience it a different way.
Yep, I'm watching it on Netflix with subtitles and everything.
Yep, and as we learned, the subtitles were wrong this week as well.
Yep.
But you can watch that way. If you're so inclined, feel free to do so. It's a bit more exciting that way, I would think.
No, it's fine.
And
like, they're here nor there, really. I've seen the DVDs, too. They're nice.
Yeah, no, whichever way you want, if you don't feel like spending $60 or, whatever. But we're here on the red carpet. It's the Music Awards, in fact. And I can tell you, Kristen, I can only assume that the Music Awards is only literally going to be all footage of like Gem and company sitting and like kind of like clapping like hey, yay, great when anybody wins an award, and just kind of waiting for their award, and then the Misfits come down and then they probably like spit hot fire on everything.
Yeah, they just burn the whole place down, I assume.
Or turn into
Here's
a giant.
your award. Hot fiery death.
Totally, which, I don't know why I'm saying that all this is going to happen considering we've watched the episode and we know that the Music Awards are basically nowhere to be found in this episode.
Yeah, we got to posture a little bit because there's a lot of orphan subplot going on that we're going to get into.
This episode is almost entirely orphan subplot, but and especially like orphans that we don't know, and a new character who's in charge of orphans that we don't know, and like a redheaded orphan we don't know, and it's like, ugh.
And a return of a weird obscure character I never expected to see again, but we'll talk about that.
I forgot about that. I don't even remember her name, but I referred to her in the notes. We'll see when she shows up, but no use waiting any longer. I think it's time to play the theme song. Don't you think?
I think so too. Let's go.
Me and my friends are Gem girls. Gem, Gem is my name. Exciting adventure, fashion and fame. Once you're a Gem girl, you're never the same. Come on and be a Gem girl. Gem, Gem is my name. Me and my friends are Gem girls. Gem, Gem is my name. Truly outrageous, that's a Gem girl. Glamour, fashion and fame. Exciting adventure, fashion and fame. Once you're a Gem girl, you're never the same. Come on and be a Gem girl. Gem, Gem is my name. Gem.
So first thing, of course, because I gotta mention all this now, we're back to Christy Marks writing the. I don't want to say that she created the series because I don't think she did, but she's definitely in charge of like all
She
the
kind of like took the reins, definitely.
Yeah, she's in charge of like all the important characters and things, and most important character debuts are in her episodes. So expect to see new characters.
We're back on the rails. We were off the rails for a while there. No more Slay for the Sky Dragon.
Or, Mary Screens.
Screens, our favorite.
But we start at Starlight Mansion, where Deirdre, Chrissy, and Bonnie are all hanging out there. Starlight Girl orphans. I think we might have mentioned what they look like before. Deirdre's the one with the hat, even though she doesn't wear the hat for the good first half of this episode, I think.
Yeah, she looks like Ashley, but with longer hair and a hat.
And a bit taller, I think,
less
too.
like the cheat.
Yeah, she doesn't have the polka dots thing going on at all.
The weird... Yeah.
Yeah, that thing. Chrissy is the African-American one with the ribbon, not to be confused with the other African-American one with the headband.
Those are two completely different hair accessories, so Good distinction.
I just want to make clear that I know that other Starlight girl, whose name is, Leela or Layla or something, I referred to her as Chrissy before. So, whoops, my fault.
We know none of you noticed, but we like to acknowledge our mistakes.
And Bonnie is, of course, Bonnie, who has Chrissy doing her hair because Bonnie is still blind.
Yeah, I'm like, the more I think about it, we're never going to stop referring to Bonnie as blind, even though her eyes are never a thing ever again.
No, it's more about her father from here on out, but it's definitely more about her eyes in my heart.
Oh yeah, definitely. So you made note and told me that apparently Deirdre is just sounds exactly like Pizzazz, and then you looked it up, and she is also voiced by Pizzazz's voice actress. I didn't notice at all.
Yeah, it's Patricia Albrecht or something like that is the voice actress. It's just as soon as she said something about Jem, and the way that like her inflection was on Jem, I was like, is that Pizzazz?
She sounded a little bit too hateful when she said it.
Like she was still in Pizzazz mode, and it led me to believe that Deirdre and Pizzazz is, that they're clearly the same person.
She's in disguise. Clash helped her out. So Deirdre's like practicing guitar, unclear whether or not she's actually playing, but Chrissy mentioned something about wearing that tape out, but there's no music playing.
Well, no, I think she's referring to the background music in the scene that is playing. It's because it does stop
That
when
doesn't
she's.
sound like a guitar.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, there is no guitar things being played, and it's definitely not, Deirdre playing the music or anything. But there's some kind of cassette tape playing, and Deirdre's just air guitaring on an actual guitar. I think maybe.
She later tries to play it, so I assume that she was practicing somehow. But sure, the sound mixing not ideal in this scene.
Yeah, no guitar noises, and much like Pizzazz, Deirdre has delusions of grandeur to think that when she gets good, she's gonna play with Jem and the Holograms, like she's gonna be their fucking like third guitarist, because by the time she's old enough, they're already gonna have Rhea in the band, and Shayna's gonna be the second guitar person or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, when you have a band that already has 3 guitars in it, the next logical step is not another guitar, it's obviously a saxophone.
But of course, a British saxophone player who's a liar, if you will. And but yeah, it's they all like, oh crap, it's time for Lindsay's show. Which apparently Lindsay's show must be the most fucking powerful force in the Gem universe, because I think we're on like 3 or 4 episodes now where everybody stops what they're doing to go and watch Lindsay's show.
Yeah, I feel like she is way more famous and like this plurific TV person than was like previously implied for how like super cash she acts.
Yeah, she shows up late in the episode, like, hanging out, too, which I felt was weird. I mean, she's there to, I guess, help promote a thing, but yeah, I don't know, I feel weird about it.
She's the exposition machine.
But, it's hard to believe, for me, that, Pizzazz and Deirdre aren't the same person with the way that she is acting at the beginning of this episode, because she fucking, runs in and she's like, hey, #1 fan coming through, as she jumps on a couch that has Ashley on it, mind you. And I wrote that she manages to, like, out-bitch a shot that includes Ashley in it.
Yeah, she's out Ashleying Ashley, which is like, and does not stop in this episode.
No, for the majority of the episode, she may as well be Ashley.
Yeah, for real. So, there's a thing about the music awards, the music awards that Lindsay's talking about on the show, and they're saying, oh, for best new rock group, it's contentious. We don't know who's gonna win it. And I said, don't tell me it's Jem and the Misfits. They're the big head-to-head people, aren't they? Probably. Yes, they are.
They are indeed. Lindsay shows a clip when she's talking about the new rock group things of, Jem and the Holograms, and one thing I noticed is Shayna's drums are, like, way too close to the ground. I don't know why they were drawn that way, but they're literally, like, the electric drum set that she plays is, like, barely a foot off the ground, and her knees are, like, up to her armpits as she's, like, trying to drum.
That's how I do most of my sewing, on the floor, with my legs straight up, like, basically cradled to my chest. Me and Shane are kindred souls, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so you could play drums that way totally, as well as sew.
Absolutely. So yeah, there's talking about Jem, and then for the Misfits, they are singing this song I have never heard before, talking about I'm the biggest star in town. That sounds super catchy, and I don't... That's just a little sample they took of Pizzazz saying, yep, I'm the biggest star in town. That's probably not even a full song. That was just an audio clip of Pizzazz in her day-to-day life.
I wouldn't be surprised. I also want to make note when it shows a little clip of the Misfits, Pizzazz looks like she's gonna fucking die because she's like wiggling all over the place, like crazily.
Her soul is trying to get back in, and she's like, no! I can't go back to that.
You sold me to the devil. I don't want to be here anymore. She's like, you get the fuck back here. I am the devil.
Yeah, basically. Like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Anyway.
There's a lot of stuff like Buffy, I guess.
There's so many things. So, back at Pizzazz's house, everyone's hanging out. It now just occurred to me that they've just been bumming around without being signed to a record company this entire time.
I feel like that raises a lot of questions. Like, I don't know if the Music Awards thing was supposed to be, like, earlier in the chronology or something, but the fact that, like, the Misfits, we've seen them, like, be popular and, like, have concerts places.
And been doing promotions and things.
Yeah, and apparently they're unsigned, like, with no record contract or anything, which means that have they not been getting money for all this?
I know Eric's just been hanging out with them, which the fact that he would be doing that without getting some money from it just seems confusing. Then he starts to look like a sad old man with nothing else to do.
Well, we also know that, Eric's interested in anything that makes money from Last Resorts. So if the Misfits failed him, why would he still hang around them?
He sees the dollar signs in pizzazz.
I guess. I guess that's really the only... I don't know. I feel like it raises a lot of questions.
Oh yeah, definitely. But since the award would be great for promoting them as a new rock group, they want to win it, but kind of need a music company for, organizational purposes. And then one of my favorite notes that I've written is what happens next I would like to refer to as a pizzazz ex machina.
Yeah, it's basically Pizzazz just like, I got this shit, don't worry about it.
So, she goes and daddy's her father, who is not listening to her at all.
Yeah, I would like to speak about this scene a bit, as well as in the previous scene, Roxy plays Mrs. Exposition, to say that they don't have a contract, and I just want to make note of Roxy's terrible orange and pink outfit, which looked
all of them were just pretty weird in that scene. I noticed that too. There were a couple times in this whole episode where I'm like, what the hell is everyone wearing here? And I think in this scene in particular, they cut away from them so quickly I didn't actually pause to go back, so I didn't write any specific notes, but yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely, it looks weird, and one thing I noticed, there's a little coloring error when Pizzazz initially goes into her father's office, where in any of the shots that we see him from behind, his hair is brown, but any other shot, it is gray, and I assumed that, when it shows up the first time, it's like, oh, his hair starts brown, and then it turns gray as soon as Pizzazz says, Daddy, which makes me think
so it's symbolic.
As soon as he hears Pizzazz's voice, he ages 30 years.
Yep, you know what? I believe it.
And then, he's not listening, and Pizzazz does, the Seinfeld thing of, she says that she's gonna, sprout wings and fly away, and his dad's just like, that's good, don't forget to write.
What kind of Seinfeld thing is that? I can't think of what you're referring to.
There's, two conversations in Seinfeld that I could think of specifically where, I think it's Elaine's talking to Jerry and George, and they're not paying attention, and she's, I can't remember the specifics of the conversation, but an episode I was just watching recently of Jerry's talking to his...
You know what? That sounds like a thing Elaine would do.
Jerry's talking to his friend, and his friend's not paying attention. He's more interested in when the food's going to come, and he's like, hey, I've been invited to perform at Iran. Thinking about...
Topical humor coming straight from Seinfeld.
Still coming straight out of, 1990.
Uh-huh. Okay. I understand your reference now.
Okay.
We can continue. I'm the reference gatekeeper.
I'm sad I had to sit there and explain it for 45 seconds, but yeah.
No, that was for my benefit, so thank you.
Okay. But it's basically in order to get Pizzazz out of his hair, he's just like, fucking take any money you want. I don't give a shit. Go away. And there we go. He has, Pizzazz could have bought a fucking island if she wanted to.
But no, she needed to make sure to put Misfits music directly across the street from Starlight music so they could have a big building skyscraper dick measuring contest.
Yep, but we'll get there. Pizzazz leaves and she refers to Eric and the rest of the Misfits as kitties for some reason.
That's creepy. I don't know why, but there's absolutely no actual context for this, but the fact that she says kitties makes me feel like she's going to kill and eat them later.
Maybe, yeah. Well, I know we've established that you like to think that Pizzazz will kill and eat basically anything.
She definitely kills and eats almost everything she encounters.
But, we cut to, I guess, a mall or something where Jerica is heard from off-screen, very kind of haphazardly saying, don't, this is for back to school, so, be careful of what you're buying. And that's just the lead-in to she makes an impression.
Yeah, my note for that is don't slut it up, orphans.
Don't slut it up, orphans. And we're going to play...
This is for school.
Around the house, that's fine. In school, please.
Yeah, you could do whatever you want. If you're gonna do it, I would rather you do it in the house. Who wants a margarita?
All right.
I don't know why these orphans ran away. These are the best living conditions anyone could possibly hope for. I will let you continue.
It's time for She Makes an Impression, which we're gonna play for you right now.
Her outfit is chosen with the greatest of care. She does the same when she does her hair. All she wears, what she wears with pride. It reflects
So this is another song about fashion. After last week we had a fashion song, but this time it's orphan fashion.
Well, this song, I feel like it boils down to the clothes make the girl, is what I would say.
Yeah, it's really catchy, as you just heard. It has a better flow, I think, than a lot of the other songs, so like a couple seconds in, I was like, okay, I kind of like this. One of the issues with the imagery I do have, though, is a lot of the shoppers seem like baffled by the orphans, and honestly, if you turn loose a bunch of young girls into a store and just say, run! I would be a little bit annoyed too. Like, I feel like they should have brought them in shifts or something.
Yeah, it's basically all. Well, I mean, there's like what, 5 maybe. It's not all of the orphans, but it's
Like,
all.
it's enough of them that they're causing a little bit of a ruckus.
Right, it's all the ones that you know, probably. And I want to make note, in one shot, Jerrica is wearing some weird, like, fucking Eastern European number with, like, a tall hat and, like, a gigantic powder blue sweater.
Yeah, why not?
Deirdre puts on a hat so we can finally tell who she is.
Oh, thank God, accessory on someone's head to signify who they are.
There's imagery of Chrissy. No, not Chrissy, excuse me, Leela. I'm doing it again, I'm so sorry.
Great job.
May as well just Chrissy 2 running a marathon because clothes, like, you know, that's, yeah, hey, if you wear you know, like a tank top with a 1 on it and shorts, you're gonna win a race.
Yeah, it shows them picking things up from one rack that are kind of expensive and then being like, oh no, we are physically savvy orphans, let's pick things up from the sale rack.
Well, not only that, Kristen, you missed the fact that, 1, it's Bonnie picking it up, so
She couldn't see it.
Well, it's she picks it up. It's this weird, like, blue shirt that has, like, frills on, like, the shoulders, or, like, the arm cuffs or whatever. And it says Romeo across it, and she turns to look at the orphans, and the orphans are, like, shaking their heads like, Bonnie, are you fucking blind?
She is. That is really insensitive.
And yeah, and then they pick up something off the sale rack, like a green dress, which looks, you know, fine.
She's blind. What does she care what it looks like as long as it's comfortable? Well, I guess if it's less expensive, then, you know, what does it matter? She can't see it.
Yeah, well, exactly. There's a nice little shot of, like, Starlight girls stepping out of, like this infinite changing room line, and all strike a little pose.
You know that thing that every single female-focused piece of media has ever done?
Is that? I don't know. That's you. That's your department, so...
What, because I'm a girl?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing. Changing clothes at a department store, coming out in different outfits, striking a pose.
Oh, that, okay. That's what
yeah, sometimes accompanied by, no, not that one. Oh, not that one either. Yeah, that one. Yay!
Usually it's only one girl doing it and not a bunch of them, though.
Well, it varies. Depends on whether or not you got friends and the shopping occasion.
Yeah, or, you know, orphan friends.
These are important things to consider.
And you got shots of orphans in space, and a weird thing of orphans jumping through, like, a magic closed mirror in a geometry dimension with a bunch of fucking geometric shapes in the background. That's there for, like, maybe a second or two.
They don't have the benefit of holograms.
And that's basically the song, Back to Reality. There's a good chance most of that did not happen.
Yeah, just montage imagery.
Montage imagery with fantasy shit in there too. So maybe it's like, this is how the clothes make them feel, kind of like it's one of those things where they're seeing it in their head.
I guess so. One thing, really quick. One of the things I forgot to note. At some point when there's a shot of Aja, she looks like she's dressed like a Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, except fashion Scorpion.
I
just wanted to make sure I pointed that out.
I think we've seen the Scorpion costume before because it's matched with Jem's, like, Jackie O outfit, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, I really enjoyed seeing that. I was like, whoa!
No, but I definitely love seeing that one because it's my favorite. And once again, you know, Jackie O outfit is clearly the pillbox hat outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, since we've established that Deirdre and Pizzazz are essentially the same person, we can assume that Deirdre's manifestations of, like, I look good in clothes are manifesting themselves here. Is Pizzazz, like, the Hulk version of Deirdre, maybe?
When Deirdre gets, like, really angry, when her soul leaves her, she turns into Pizzazz. But we do see them in the same place later, so clearly this is just fan fiction.
Yeah, they don't just, they touch hands and then they absorb into each other and the world collapses on itself.
That sounds great.
That doesn't happen, thankfully. Basically, Deirdre's like, hey, you know, Jerrica, check out this thing. And Jerrica's wearing her pink business suit now. She's not wearing the Eastern European outfit anymore for some reason, so, you know, whatever. But
does she have her shoulder pads on?
I believe so. But Jerrica's, like, suddenly in fucking super business mode, I guess, because she has to work out in her fucking checkbook how much, you know, buying clothes for, like, 90 orphans is going to be. And Deirdre's sad, which is we're going to have, I think, like, 4 or 5 instances of Deirdre being like, hey, Jem! And Jem or Jerrica, like, at the worst possible moment when they're like, I can't talk right now.
Yeah, it's funny because she definitely does not have great timing with approaching Jerrica or Jem. But the thing is, with the amount of times that Jerrica says, not now, Deirdre, in this episode, you think she would be like, I've been saying that a lot today. Maybe my orphans are going to run away.
You would think.
That would imply that Jerka cares.
Or thinks.
Or thinks.
Because now we're back at Starlight Music, and here's that fucking tertiary character you were talking about, Kristen.
Wait, which one? Wait, hang on.
Do you remember her name?
Wait, you're confusing me. No, we're at Starlight Music. The character I'm talking about is at Misfits Music.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought you were talking about fucking Irish Synergy.
No, but she's there too. I just got really confused. God damn.
I forgot about the lady at Misfits Music, but yeah, fucking whatever her name is, Irish Synergy is back for, it's to say 2 lines, because she's like, hey, Jerrica, take a look across the street.
Oh no, Jerrica, me Lucky Charms. I can't do that accent very well, so I just kind of had to fall back on what I knew I could do.
Of
yeah,
course,
I'm
no,
sorry.
It's well, I mean, it was weird because one, I didn't expect her to show up again, because I forget her name completely, and 2, I thought it was the Countess at first, and I was like, why would the Countess be there?
That's why I got confused. I think I thought it was the Countess and then immediately forgot about her.
But yeah, Irish Synergy is there, and she's like, what's going on across the street? And they watch as a crane pulls up a big sign that says Misfits Music, directly across the street from Starlight.
Oh no!
Because Pizzazz had to get into that dick waving contest, and here we are.
You never want to go toe-to-toe with Pizzazz on posturing.
Jerrica says that it's her worst nightmare come true, which I had, is it Jerrica? Is it really your worst nightmare? But now that I think about it, it might actually be.
She doesn't have a lot of real problems.
I mean, her orphans running away? Nah, it's not bad. Misfits moving in across the street? Fucking kill me now.
No!
Irish Synergy tries to cheer Jerrica up by saying that it might be some other Misfits for some reason.
Nice try, lady, but, Jerrica decides that she needs to go over there, and I said, you could also mind your own damn business.
She could. That would actually be probably, again, Jerrica doesn't think. We have very little evidence of Jerrica thinking in this episode.
Yeah, and with the way that she is greeted by the nail painting secretary from the very first episode, that was who I was really surprised to see. And they name her as if oh yes, it's you from the first episode. I was like, oh god, I was right. But Eric Raymond and the Misfits are all there, and they could tell that she was gonna come over because they were all ready for her.
Well, for some reason, also, the nail painting secretary is, sitting in Eric's seat. She goes over, and she's like, well, I got, who's in charge here? And she, in this desk with, a window that says Misfits behind it. And, she turns around in the chair like she's the one in charge for some reason, even though she's just she's Eric Raymond's secretary.
Yeah, I guess they just wanted to have, layers of jump scares, so it's the secretary, and then Eric Raymond and the Misfits, and one of those is less shocking than the other. So they're like, you go first, because otherwise it'll dampen the effect of Misfits being there. Those Misfits, not the other ones.
Not the ones that Irish Synergy was talking about. Those Irish Misfits. But, yeah, it's basically, at this point, the Misfits are just kind of jeering Jerrica, hey, you can come work for us. When we beat you, you could be a window cleaner.
Ooh, that's not really a sick burn. I mean, that's a legitimate job. Windows
true.
Need to be cleaned by someone, so.
You gotta respect window cleaners, and that'd certainly be better than being a chauffeur shoveling money into a car. Kristen, chauffeurs shoveling monies into cars don't get the respect they deserve, not like window cleaners.
Well, if you're a chauffeur shoveling money into a car, you better bet your butt that you could grab just a fistful of hundos every shift, and no one would notice.
They'd be none the wiser. But it's basically, the entire scene is just basically Eric going, we're gonna win the award, and then that's it. And then Jerrica leaves, pretty much.
So, Eric gets on the line and calls his son... Not Zipper.
Not his son Zipper, but his son, half-hair tech rat here. He takes out a giant walkie-talkie to do so. I believe there's even the animation of him pulling out the fucking giant antenna from the end of the cell phone.
Gotta be technologically accurate. I mean, how would you just pick up a receiver and then talk to someone on the other end? Nothing like that exists.
I mean, tech rat's in the basement, I guess, I would assume, because we don't really know where he is, but he's at this fucking supercomputer thing, maybe? And he types in all capital letters, run Misfits program into it, and
.exe.
The fucking future is now, because...
Yep, and just as Jerrica goes outside, this sick-ass billboard with, realistic graphical quality. It looks real nice for how skinny it is. It's basically a flat-screen TV, but huge. And it has the Misfits doing a little dance on it. Roxy and Stromer got some sick-ass high kicks. And it goes, Misfits!
Yeah, it zooms in on Pizzazz's eyes, and there's like fireworks in her eyes, and then it says Misfits. I have it as that it's just like a looping GIF on the board for some reason. Like
basically.
Tech Rat invented a way to put GIFs on a billboard.
The future is now!
But it's, the Misfits all laugh because it's like, look at her face, that's great. And Pizzazz inquires, who are you talking to? Eric refers to Tech Rat as his new secret weapon.
I have who are you talking to? My son. So yeah, I'm glad we're continuing rolling with this horrible family of misfits.
Tech Rat is not Eric's son. He is just nor is Zipper. We just like putting that out there.
Yeah, they're just creepy dudes who hang out and want to get paid.
And are all voiced by Charlie Adler.
Yeah, so big family of Charlie Adler. So even though they didn't really even do anything, Jerk is really upset.
Yeah, she goes back to Starlight House and
says, we've got Misfits trouble.
Yeah, I was just like talking about something like, let's go over these bars again. And then here comes Jerica kicking down the door, being like, guys, we need a fucking team meeting in Synergy's room right now.
Even though, like, literally nothing happened.
Yeah, basically nothing happened. Here's probably the most egregious example of Deirdre confronting Jerica and being like, hey, check out my guitar licks, Jerica. And Jerica's like, not now. We got Misfits problems. Even though she probably could have been like, let me take a breath here. Let me talk to this fucking orphan. And, let me hear your shitty guitar riff. Beat him to down. All right, good. Thanks. Goodbye.
Nice job with those 2 chords you learned. Really impressive.
You're really getting there.
Yeah, and it's at this point where I was like, does Jerica not notice how often she says not now to the same orphan in one day? Possibly 2 days, but still, like, there's a self-awareness that's necessary here.
Yeah, there's got to be something going on in her head, like, wait a minute, didn't Deirdre do this to me earlier in the day?
Yeah, basically. So we cut to a parking garage, and I really love this scene, because Eric is looking for Tech Rat, and he goes like, Tech Rat!
He basically, for some reason he like whistles and he calls Tech Rat like he's a dog.
In my notes I basically have Eric's going. Tech Rat's not a person.
he's a Tech Rat.
He's a genius.
Yeah, I forgot. He's not a weirdo. He's a genius.
Yeah, so Tech Rat is in this parking garage, and he looks like he's waiting for his mom to pick him up to go to D&D night with the boys.
And we get, a nice scene of Charlie Adler talking to himself. Tech Rat has a jammer, I guess, of some sort that he's looking to test, and he needs to go to a place with some appliances. They all get in a car, and, Eric's like, oh, I got the perfect place. But then here comes Pizzazz sliding up on Tech Rat like, oh, who's this?
Yeah, I don't know why she sounds so intrigued by him, because he's not that impressive. Like, let's be real here.
He's no Rio.
Oh, absolutely not. And yeah, the first thing Tech Rat does is screams, don't touch me.
Which honestly, that's, that might be the first time somebody has like denied Pizzazz and she hasn't been like, that hasn't made her more adamant about getting him.
I want it because I can't have it.
But yeah, Tech Rat's very clearly uncomfortable with all the Misfits getting in the car because they weren't supposed to be there. They just kind of followed Eric. And
yeah, I also have a question. How the hell were the Misfits quiet enough to sneak up on Eric and Tech Rat? That seems impossible.
You would think that as soon as like Pizzazz saw Tech Rat, she would be like, who the hell's that guy?
Yeah, I'm surprised Pizzazz didn't scream at them from the other end of the parking garage and then like go running full speed at the car.
And like shoulder check it and knock it over.
Yep, but they're ready to go see this demonstration.
I just like that Eric has such like a torn expression on his face when the Misfits get in the car, and Tech Rat's clearly like, who are these people? Where he's like, do I tell the Misfits to go away and they'll probably kill me if I do, or do I make my secret son uncomfortable?
This is the burden they have to bear as family.
Yep, like it or not, and the Misfits are here, so we cut back to Starlight Manor at this point, and apparently they need Synergy's help to beat the Misfits, because Jerica walks in and specifically says, Synergy, we need your help to defeat the Misfits.
Yeah, I wrote down, Synergy, help us cheat to beat the Misfits. And I get that the Misfits cheat, like, all the time, but so far in the episode, they haven't.
Very true.
And this lesson is cheat back if you want to win, kids.
I don't understand what they need to, like, help us beat the Misfits. At what? Like, there's no concert or anything. Like, Synergy's not going to help with the award. It's not like they're both going to the music awards and playing a song, and that's how people are going to, like, choose. Like, I'm assuming the winner at this point is probably already chosen.
Yeah, I guess they just want to, like, bolster their image or something. It's dumb. Jerica appears to be wearing 2 blazers also. One on top of the other.
Shayna's dressed like an 80s chauffeur with, like, a hat and pink gloves and, like, overalls. Kinda.
Yeah, there's some weird clothing going on in this scene as well, but Jem demands of Synergy more holograms.
Yeah,
And that's her plan.
Yeah, Jem thinks that Synergy's holograms in their concert will like help for some reason, and then Synergy's like, well, hey, take a look at this. And Kimber says outrageous.
Pew, pew!
Yeah, here's where Kimber says outrageous because wow, look at all the pretty colors.
Wow, and it doesn't look that great, to be honest.
No, I don't. I mean, then again, they're inside a house and not on a stage. So does that mean they're gonna like bring Synergy with them, or are all the holograms gonna be broadcast from Jerica's earrings at the concert? Or
I think the earrings are implied to have like the same powers as Synergy, which doesn't make sense, but that's the explanation I feel like we are given.
Well, I mean, if the earrings can do what happens next, I think Jerica should, use them more often in this fashion, where Eric and company pull up in front of Starlight Manor, and Tech Rat starts his jammer, which does all kinds of crazy things, including making the metal gate swing a bunch. Like, I don't think that's not an electric gate.
My favorite thing is,
what's that?
My favorite thing about this is that they can't see any of this stuff happening in the house, so they go up, start making the gate go wobble, 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 and go, holy shit, that's awesome! But it is at least, like, semi-electronic because of the one episode where Rio rolls up and he's on the camera from outside, and Jerica sees him on the little monitor inside, and he's like, let me in, I'm Rio!
But does the gate open, like wobbly way, or does it kind of move to the side? I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but the Misfits are, like, really having a good time.
Yeah, because it makes a bunch of shit go on inside the house, including Deirdre's amp making like Atari 2600 noises that are so loud that it probably makes Bonnie deaf as well as blind.
I read that. Great, now Bonnie is deaf.
So, in another episode she'll become Tommy, and then, see me, feel me, touch me, heal me, and it'll be great.
Man, why doesn't Bonnie ever get like a pinball wizard thing? Like, without all the, all the bad parts of Tommy, can we at least give her something fun? Something good. Make
her really good at something despite being, at this point, deaf and blind.
Yes. Please, something. But, and she is, like, also practically mute for the entire episode, besides,
That's
like,
true.
2 lines. But if we want to make these connections deeper.
We're going to talk about that line in a little bit, because that's Bonnie's line might be my favorite of the episode. But it's basically, like, the lights start flickering, and a blender explodes all over one of the Starlight girls. And for some reason, like, Synergy starts going haywire, and her lights turn into, like lasers. Like, literal, like, actual, like, lasers that can hurt you.
Yeah, get away from her lasers! That's not how that works.
That is exactly what Kimber says.
I don't know that for a fact. I don't know very much about laser technology. But I can say pretty confidently that's not how that fucking works.
Well, if they turned into actual lasers, the entire house would be fucking cut up pretty much, too, so... That would be one
whatever.
thing.
We need a little fun sequence here of, oh, everyone's in danger. Synergy is gonna kill them, hoisted by their own petard.
And there's a very awkward kind of thing that happens where during the shots of like Jem nearly being killed by lasers, it starts where she was Jem in the scene. Mm-hmm. And she gets, in one shot she's Jerica, and then in another shot she's back to being Jem, being turned back into Jerica, and then that's basically when the segment ends.
Womp, 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 womp. Hologram noises.
That's basically when the segment ends, because all of them look like they're gonna fucking die via being killed by lasers.
Fun.
Segment 2 starts. This one, thankfully, it's not solved immediately. It's just, everybody's still in danger of dying, and then all of a sudden, Pizzazz is like, yeah, give me that thing!
Yeah,
and
Pizzazz, Eric's kids are acting up in the back of the car.
I have basically exactly that written. Pizzazz and Tetrat are like a bunch of spoiled kids in the back of the car, and it's a wonder Eric didn't threaten to turn the car around or hit them.
Yeah, I'll give you something to cry about. But Tech Rat takes the jammer thing and holds it outside the window, and that's not enough to stop Pizzazz. Are you kidding me? So it gets dropped from probably like 4 feet. And
not even.
If that were like a Nintendo product, it wouldn't even be dented.
No, not even. But yeah, it breaks immediately, and we get a shot next of Tech Rat kind of holding it at his like lap. Everybody's kind of silent, and then Tech Rat says, "You broke it twice," like the exact same line twice. Like, it's the exact same read. Like, I don't know if the script called for Tech Rat to say "you broke it" twice. It just sounds like Charlie Adler saying "you broke it," and then probably being like, oh, let me try that again. You broke it, and then they put both in anyway.
And not that he is just like super heartbroken over his sad smashed piece of technology. It's broken. It's broken.
And Pizzazz admonishes Tech Rat with, Eric, where'd you find this weirdo? And that's when Eric says, Tech Rat's not a weirdo, he's my son.
Yeah, I mean, genius.
Oh yes, of course, genius, not my son. He's not my son at all, he's a genius.
And I wrote, no, he is a weirdo, Eric, come on.
It's weird how quickly, she calls him creepy, like way faster than she called Zipper creepy, even though Zipper is like way creepier.
I've always gotten the impression, like, visually, that Tech Rat is meant to look a little bit grody.
Yeah, probably.
And the
You're probably right.
He's got that alternative shaved head thing going on.
Yeah, the thing that's
Zipper
totally
has
popular
real-
now. Real hair that's and Jodie LaForge's sunglasses. He's got both. And a leather jacket. That's totally
Yeah,
cool.
you look at Zipper and you're not Zipper. You look at Tech Rat. Oh God, I keep getting the boys confused. I mean, the siblings are so similar. You look at Tech Rat and you go, ugh.
Kind
That
of.
was the sick burn I had prepared. But Synergy explains, oh, no, I'm fine. Like, yeah, don't even worry about it. We're good. We're good.
Yeah, I find it odd that they nearly died there, and yeah, it just because Tech Rat's thing broke, and the laser stopped shooting, and Kimber's like, "Hey, Jem, you did it," and Jerica's like, I didn't do anything. What the hell was that?"
And Synergy goes, no, don't worry about it.
Synergy's just like, "Hey, it's not a problem with me. It's just interference."
I kept expecting someone to be like, that was probably the Misfits. Because even though they don't have proof, it's not like a huge logic leap. But instead they're like, okay.
Yeah, they kind of just brush it under the rug, like, let's hope it doesn't happen again.
They suddenly remember they need to go meet Video for something, and I wrote down, do we have time to ignore the orphans one more time before we leave? Yes, we do.
Yep, Deirdre's like, hey, check out whatever, and Jericho's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, and they leave, and here... I think I lied about Bonnie before. I think Ashley has the line of the episode here where Deirdre starts going on like a tangent about, maybe Jem would like us since Jericho's so busy all the time. And Ashley goes, dude, grow up.
Whoa, sick burn. See, I was saying Ashley got better, and they find stock orphans to replace Ashley's terrible behavior once she learns some lessons and gets locked in some trunks.
You're
So-
you're right. Yeah, Ashley is somehow like she's the level-headed person here, where she's like, shut up.
I learned my lesson. Weren't you there for my character arc? Learn something from it.
And yeah, that's basically where that ends, is just, Deirdre's like, next time we see Jem, she's going to be so totally cool with like, oh, Deirdre, your guitar playing is so great. Oh, God, oh, you're so amazing. Jericho sucks.
Oh man, I'm sorry, Shayna, you can't be in the band anymore. From now on, it's Deirdre and Jem and the holograms.
Go be a fashion designer.
I said Aja, didn't I?
You said Shayna.
I meant to say Aja. She's the one with the guitar. You do some. You don't have another hobby yet, so I guess you're a Starlight Orphan now.
Oh man, can't wait for the adventures of Aja the Starlight Orphan.
Yep, swapping places. Man, I would watch that show. I like Aja.
I do too. She's the one who deserves to get kicked out of the band the least.
And she needs to go live her life. Get her out of that band. Make her do something else.
But yeah, we pull up to, I guess, oh no, I'm sorry, it's Haven House, Dance's house, who we will meet in a moment here. And for some reason, well, I have written here the line, I believe, that Jem delivers, oh good, Rio is here already, to which I also have written, I can hear Kristen groaning as this is being said.
It was actually like a couple of minutes of unbroken screaming, but that was a good guess. Yeah, I don't know why Rio is there. There's no point. I don't think he does anything in this scene, really, but he's there.
He really doesn't, because, well, it's they go in and Video's like, here, let me introduce you to my friend Dance. And then I have written, oh fuck, now I'm groaning because Dance is debuting, and I severely dislike Dance, actually. Like,
Dance is really boring. Though when Video was talking, she said, you said you wanted to add something new to your concerts. And I added, and Dance has the weirdest hair in the series.
and yeah, because Dance's debut takes precedent over whatever else is happening, they basically completely ignore Rio, too, which is nice. Like, that line about Rio being here, I think, was just put in because, he's there later, and it's like, oh, he didn't leave with them, so, but it doesn't matter, because they walk in on Dance, and it's time for the second song of the evening, which is When It's Only Me and the Music, which I thought was a good song.
It's a little slow. My first note is, so this is a song about interrupting someone's dance practice. Because they just open the door and Dance is in the middle of a thing.
Yeah, Dance is doing a thing here. She's dancing. She's dancing in silhouette against the sunset. There's imagery of releasing a dove. Dance is dancing in space. There's planets.
I wrote, so this definitely isn't happening, which forces me to assume that it's a montage of all of the holograms falling in love with Dance.
So Dance dancing normally is probably, who's the blandest? I guess at this point it's Aja just being like, oh. And then, releasing a dove, and against the sunset it's Shayna being like, oh. And then,
wow.
being in space, Kimber's like, outrageous. And then jumping from planet to planet like she's fucking Zipper or something. Actually, that That should be when Shayna falls in love, because she has experience jumping from thing to thing
Yep.
as well.
And at the very end, Jem shoves Rio to the floor and says, "Date me."
You got orphans too? Holy shit!
Wow, can you take mine? I don't really want them. And yeah, one of my notes is dancing through time and space, as you do.
Yeah, it's a lot of imagery. This entire music video, I wish I wrote down something about the lyrics, because it's just dancing.
Yeah,
That's
and it's
quite literally all it
when
is.
it's only me and the music, and that the title is said over and over and over. And one of the other notes I have, my last one actually is, what's perfect for a rock band? A ballet dancer.
Yeah, I remember I was at a Beck concert, and one of the guys at Beck's concert was just like an interpretive dance guy. And that's great, that's great for,
For certain styles of music, that's fine. For Jem, ballet, I don't get it.
No.
For their ballads, whatever. But,
Yeah, you're going to pay her to be out there for maybe 3 songs of the evening, because you would think a normal concert, you need that, that denouement. You need to play, the big, yeah song, and then you need to be like, all right, let's slow it down a bit for, for the ladies in the audience.
all of you. Yeah, for a minute there I was thinking, what's a comparable dance style that wouldn't fit with the Misfits music? And for some reason, the first thing I thought of, it would be like someone crumping at a Misfits concert, but then I thought, no, that's really appropriate, actually.
It's
maybe not to the same beat or anything, but the spirit of the dance, I feel like it's very fitting.
It'd be a new sort of dance where it's not like moshing, but it's still people punching each other in the face.
It's just actual fighting.
It's just literal, it turns into an MMA free-for-all. And then Roxy
Hang
gets
on,
involved.
let me put on my costume, and then I put on a pair of brass knuckles, and I'm ready to rumble.
You're ready to Roxy Rumble.
I'm ready to Roxy Rumble. So that comes to a close, and Dance does this little, "Oh, I didn't see you there," opening the door to my dance studio while I was, while it was only me and the music.
I have that.
You can't see it, but my arms are spread out very elegantly right now to emphasize the drama.
Yeah, I have that written as well. Something like, everybody's clapping afterwards, and Dance does that whole "oh, didn't see you there." I was just, I was so into it,
Yeah, we find out, which I frequently forget, even though I'm pretty good at remembering most of the names in the series. Dance's name is Giselle Dvorak, and Dance is her stage name. Should point out, for those of you, who aren't watching the thing with subtitles like I do, of course, Dance, her stage name, is spelled D-A-N-C. Nope, S-E. I tricked myself.
You were like, well, no, it's probably spelled the way Dance is normally spelled, but no, she's got to put an S in there because she's fucking Giselle Dvorak is not good enough. She's got to be fucking
she's super European.
She's got to be D-A-N-S-E.
Oh, now I'm genuinely annoyed because everyone else is with their nicknames and shit in the series. It's yeah, video is spelled video.
Clash is spelled Clash. Pizzazz
yeah, they're not putting on any airs. Dance has to be Dance.
Pizzazz has to fucking put 4 Z's in her name like a normal person. She could have just, used 2 or 3, but no, she's like, fuck that. I want to be correct and use all 4 Z's.
Yeah, so nope, Dance gotta be special and European.
Kimber refers to the performance as outrageous, which I thought was pretty eye-rolling. But then Aja chimes in with calling it spectac.
I didn't notice that. But did that seem like it was on purpose or a mistake?
Well, she definitely didn't. I feel like that was the thing that was written in the script, spectac. I have Kimber saying outrageous, and I want somebody else to chime in. Let's see what Aja has to say. Spectacular, I don't know, that might be too long. That might not be as cool.
We don't have the budget for spectacular. We don't have the budget for that. It needs to be spectac.
How many syllables can you get me from spectacular? We can get you sp and tack.
Yeah, do you know how much vowels cost? Jesus Christ.
And for some reason, Jem asks Rio's opinion. I'm like, hey, Rio, do you think Dance would be a good addition to our shows? And he's like, I don't see why not, and that's it.
Yeah, I wrote, don't you agree, Rio? Who fucking cares? So Dance goes into this whole spiel about Haven House, where I have Dance saying, I'm basically you but better, Jerica. Where she has this home for runaway teens, and she apparently takes care of them. She's a volunteer there, so I don't think she's the main person running the operation, which perhaps Jerica should look into getting, a kitchen wench or something that could perhaps look after the orphans.
Talk to the orphans.
Maybe someone who's actually at the house a lot, but and Dance is talking about, there's only so much money and I only have so much time, and Jerica's like, oh, I know what that's like. Only I ignore my orphans and pretend they don't exist, and then all my problems are gone.
All right, I viewed that through a bit of a different scope because I just like dance, where she's basically using all of this with Haven House to like guilt. Well, eventually, they sign on for a benefit concert, and she's using all this stuff to be like, oh no, look at the sad and sorry state that we're in. And I feel like Aja sees right through it because she like when they're explaining like, oh, we don't have any money a lot of the times, and there's not enough beds and shit like that. And I was just like, yeah, that's all pretty familiar. We had a house like that, but it burned down. Like she's trying to one up her.
It's not good to one-up people when you're talking about orphans and foster kids and things, but, whatever. So, Dance is like, if you could help us play a benefit concert, that would be awesome. And they're like, yeah, totally.
Yeah, they sign on to this,
That's
and once again, yeah, we got another thing of Jerica, like, not thinking, because, this comes up later in the episode with, why immediately being like, oh, yeah, like, not even asking when it is, of just being like, hey, we're playing a benefit concert, and it's like,
Nope.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sure. Don't tell me when it is either. I want to find out. I want it to be a surprise later. I don't have any other obligations.
But yeah, we cut back to Starlight Mansion, and Rio's finally talking about the lights. Holy shit.
See, when he said that he set up everything, I interpreted that as, I carried this piano all the way over. Are you impressed, Jim?
Which is very good. But yeah, Jem makes mention at this point, like, oh, I have some new special effects I want to try out in the show. And Rio's like, great, what are they? And then Jem has to be like, it's a secret.
It's amazing that smoke didn't start pouring out of her ears.
Well, I mean, both people are at fault in this scene, but Rio definitely ends up more at fault, because then as soon as she's like, it's a secret, Rio's like, well, okay, you sure you can't tell me about it? And Jem once again is like, okay, it's a secret, sorry, it's just some light effects, who cares? And then Rio, like, jumps it up like 10 or 12 levels by saying, you never trust me.
Yes, that is true, the thing you said, that it doesn't matter because they're only lights. That reminds me, you never tell me shit!
So Rio is, he gets going in a little tantrum kind of thing, and he's like, whatever, you do it all yourself. And then Deirdre arrives at literally the worst possible moment. Like, I don't think she couldn't have planned it better. She was like, I think I hear Rio and Jem arguing in there. Let me see if I could talk to Jem right now.
I'm gonna fix it. And basically gets the door slammed in her face when she's like, oh my god, Jem, I'm gonna prove my theory that you love me more than Jerica. And then it turns into a door slam. Oh no, a famous rock star doesn't want to hear my bullshit while she's arguing with her not boyfriend.
And, man, Deirdre is just so angry, once again, that her idol is acted exactly like Jerica. And, there really needs to be a responsible adult in this, like, orphan household, because nobody's doing anything.
Like a kitchen wench.
Like a kitchen wench, exactly. And Rio's, like, instantly sorry afterwards, because I forget, Jem says something like, oh, you're more important to me than the light show, basically, which is really...
Which I'm still not going to tell you about, but, Rio is a simple man. He doesn't need much more than that.
When you put it into perspective, I think that's all it is. It's just Rio wants to know that he's more important than the lights.
Yeah. The fact that he needs reassurance that he's more important than lights really says a lot about how Rio kind of sees himself in relation to the lights. Like, he can't separate himself from his profession, and I think that's really sad.
Yeah, he doesn't want the lights to be the master of him. He needs to be the master of the lights.
That's true in any profession.
Yep. Now we cut to Deirdre. She's ripping down her Jem posters, and she says she's running away.
And out of nowhere, Bonnie is like, yeah, I'm gonna come too, even though she has, like, no horse in this race whatsoever. So Jem made a movie to fix her eyes, and now she's like, fuck yeah, let's blow this joint.
Which is why it might be my favorite line.
That was the thing I really enjoyed about, that's what I really enjoyed about Bonnie in this episode. She doesn't say anything, then she goes, I want to run away too.
Yeah, she's really, it basically, it comes across like, now that I got the eye surgery, I don't need to fucking hang around here anymore, suckers.
Mm-hmm. So, even, I like that Chrissy does deliver a line where she's like, look what you did, Deirdre. Bonnie is a little girl. She doesn't know what she's talking about, and now she's gonna run away with you. I guess I'm gonna come too, so you idiots don't do anything that, like, land in jail, I guess.
Yeah, and Chrissy leaves a note behind because she is a responsible one. And, when they ask, like, all right, Deirdre, where are we going? Deirdre goes right down the fucking Ashley path, and she's like, yeah, we're gonna go the last place that they expect us. The Misfits, or maybe the fucking first place they should have expected them to go.
Honestly, because they've already had this experience before with Ashley running away to the Misfits, but, as we know, no one thinks. So...
Yep, that's the end of segment 2. Deirdre may as well be Ashley again because she's doing literally the same Ashley thing. This is almost like beat for beat the same exact thing that happened with Ashley.
More or less, except Deirdre doesn't owe anyone money, which I guess is a fundamental difference.
Yes, that's true. That's the big thing there. Layla isn't, shaking Deirdre down for money, which she's probably the scariest orphan because she ran that race really quickly.
Oh yeah. So start segment 3 here. We have a cartoon abusive father.
We see like a redheaded kid get thrown out by an angry dad who's only seen in silhouette, and he, it's just a generic kind of like, oh, Dad, what are you doing? And he's like, yeah, get out of here. I don't want to see you ever again. And
none of the shit with this kid pans out in this episode, so I'm not sure why they thought to introduce him in like 2 separate shots in this episode, or 3. So whatever, the redhead kid whose name we don't even learn this episode, he's here. We don't need to talk about it anymore.
He jumps the fence really easily, like he's got a really good vertical leap. I noted.
He should try to race Layla.
But we cut back to Starlight music. Jerica and Video are hanging out, and Jerica has to act like she's never met Dance before as Dance arrives.
Yep. Oh, Jem told me so much about you.
That doesn't happen very often in the series, does it? Where Jerica has to literally be like, oh, you're a person I've never met before.
Not that I can remember, but for some strange reason, she touches her earring when she says Jem will be here soon. I cannot believe she's going to attempt this sensitive operation in front of what ends up being 3 people, I think. Okay.
I don't understand why she couldn't just be Jem and just hold it at Jerica's office and be like, oh, Jerica told me, to use her office for whatever we're doing here. And I don't understand why she touches your earring when she says Jem will be here soon. It's as if, is she winking at the audience? Like, oh, guess what I'm gonna do?
I'm about to pull off some really extreme shit. Just watch.
So, Dance is also a graphic designer, apparently, because she designed, like, a handbill for this benefit.
It was markers, so. They didn't have InDesign back then.
I want to note that the date on the handbill is August 3rd of 1986, and this episode aired in September of 1986.
And that's what we would refer to as the not-too-distant future.
Or the not-too-distant past at that point.
Wait. Oh, yeah. I forgot which order the months went in. Sorry. But at this point, Lindsay busts in without knocking or anything, and she's like, Lindsay's here!
Yeah, it's basically her introduction is her saying, I'm Lindsay Pierce, I'm here, I have a show.
Got my headband on, who's ready to exercise? Let's do this.
Let's get physical.
Then there's some dueling Jem and Jerica going on where after Jerica turns into Jem, the Jerica hologram doesn't really do anything for the rest of the scene, so I'm not sure why she's there in the first place. I don't think she's ever even entirely in frame, but whatever.
You're pretty much right there. Lindsay shows off that she's actually one of the only responsible adults in the series, because she notices, like, hey, wait a minute, this benefit concert is the same day as the music awards.
And Jem is like, oh my god, I apparently don't own a calendar. That's tragic.
If only I thought for 1 second.
If only I organized my very busy rock star music managing schedule and orphan fundraising. But nope, there's no time for that.
Yep, in the middle of all this, the runaway orphans are going to Misfits music, and they're hanging out, like, against, like, a moving truck that I don't think has any specific purpose.
No, but, Pizzazz tell them to get off of the van, and assumes that they're looking for autographs. Roxy is like, why the hell do you punks look familiar? And Stormer's like, well, they're Starlight girls, obviously. Like, we torture these orphans on a regular basis. You should really know this by now. And Pizzazz is like, let's kidnap them.
Yeah, Pizzazz orders them into the U-Haul, basically, or whatever that thing is, the moving van. And Stormer stands guard for, I guess, just so they're not there when Pizzazz calls child services, which is the correct thing to do, I think.
Yeah, let me see where my note is for this. Yeah, we have very similar notes because I was looking at yours too. Mine literally says, calling child protective services is spiteful, but the correct thing to do.
Yeah, not only she sounds like really evil, and the detective guy that, the child services mustache man definitely has like a furrowed brow about this, like, oh, I'm gonna catch these sons of bitches.
Yeah, but it's like, those 3 orphans didn't run away. Like, there's a problem at Starlight Mansion, so Jerica should be brought to task, preferably legally.
Yeah, and this probably isn't too far after Ashley ran away, so, like, that's 4 orphans in the span of, X amount of months. So what the heck's going on there? Yeah,
there's coincidences, and then there's you're bad at keeping orphans. But back at Starlight Mansion, Jerica is like, Deirdre, I want to hear your song. Oh, now you want to hang out. Yeah? Well, it's too goddamn late, Jerica.
Yep, because Ashley comes in and it's like, oh, I found this note on Chrissy's bed. And it's basically, yeah, we find out that they all ran away. And, Chrissy's just there to be the responsible one and be like, all right, I'm going to wrangle these guys back whenever I can. Because, as we cut in the next scene, we're back at, I guess, Pizzazz's house, maybe? Like, I don't know if it's, or Misfits music. They're just hanging around.
It's hard to tell, but they're
doing chores.
Yeah, they're engaging in what one might call orphan labor, which is, something we haven't seen before, so I'm sure this must be tough for them.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, Deirdre's even being like, well, hey, this isn't so bad. We got a meal, and we might get to go to the Misfits concert, which is probably the same thing that they can say about Starlight House is like, hey, well, if we were at Starlight House, we'd actually be setting up heavy rock equipment, so doing the dishes probably isn't that bad.
Yeah, and, there aren't very many people that they need to do dishes for at this new location, so it probably didn't take that long either.
You're probably right. And it's basically all the holograms and such are gathered around, and they're like, all right, we got to go search for all of them. Let's check, the arcade, and, they end up going to a fast food place, and, an airport, and a bus terminal, maybe?
Just in case they skipped town 2 hours ago. Have you seen some little girls? Did you let a bunch of little girls get on a bus? I'm just asking. I didn't lose any little girls. It wasn't my fault.
Oh, but then Jerica realizes that it is her fault. Oh, no. It's the most obvious thing in the world that it's your fault, Jerica. What the hell?
They try to do that whole, no, it was all of us. And I'm like, no, it was mainly Jerica's fault. She did scream at Deirdre, a lot.
And for some reason, the orphans running away, this is basically... I guess we forgot to say it before, but pretty much, they can't do the dances thing because it's the music awards, and the music award is a pretty big award. But then all of a sudden, with the orphans running away, Jerica's like, I'm gonna go see dance because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, so she brushes off the music awards to go say that she'll play the benefit instead if Dance will have them. And she's like, oh, I just hope that, our runaway girls hear it and, understand that we care. And I'm like, or what if they hear about the benefit and think you care about other orphans more than them?
I didn't think about that, but that'd be pretty rough. But basically, yeah, the lesson that Jerica learns is, we've learned the hard way that some things are more important than awards. Fuck off.
Yeah. No fucking kidding, some things are more important than awards. Oh, I'm so used to getting all these awards and they were so important to me. Now it's like, oh, maybe the lives of children carry some weight in my mind, huh?
Oh, perhaps.
Well, no, that is odd.
But we cut to outside the Misfits concert, which you could tell it's a Misfits concert. One, because the guy's selling Misfits tickets, and two, because there's a lot of surly-looking people, with mohawks and leather jackets and shit. And we got redheaded kid going over and being like, hey, can I get a hot dog from the hot dog guy? But he don't got no money, so...
Oh, man, I want a hot dog. I'm sorry, continue.
Mail Kristen a hot dog, if you please.
Oh, that would... I don't know if I want a mail hot dog. There are other things I would accept through the mail, like a cheeseburger or a grilled cheese.
Not a hot dog.
I feel like...
A little too far.
Like a hot dog, yeah, it would be bad by the time it got to me. Those other things might persevere. Hot dog, nah. But thank you.
And there's a dude scalping tickets who's just... he gets shoulder checked for literally no reason.
It's a Misfits concert. They're dancing.
He's lucky he didn't get punched in the face. They're all testing out that new form of dancing.
Yeah, exactly. But the redheaded kid grabs one and runs. He's basically a misfit in training at this point, if he weren't a boy.
Hey, a misfit takes. That's what Pizzazz said. Doesn't ask.
Yep, so he's just living by the credo.
That ticket scalper should respect that kid and not chase after him.
You know what? I've seen how you do. I respect that. Go about your business. That's my impression of a scalper.
Yeah, well, hey, it's basically the complete opposite of this guy who looked like he wanted to kill this little redhead kid for stealing one ticket.
Yep, so the Misfits are about to perform, and all of the runaway Starlight orphans are just kind of jammed into the crowd, like, God damn it, I can't see anything. It's at this point where I was like, Bonnie has barely said, 2 words. She's just quietly standing there like, yay, freedom is so nice.
Yeah, there's a little scene beforehand with the Starlight girls coming out of the U-Haul again for some reason, and Deirdre's holding onto Pizzazz's guitar, and she Pizzazz snatches it away and is like, hey, "Get the fuck out of here!" And also,
little kid, don't touch my guitar.
Yeah, and Stormer's dressed as Jubilee this time, except her coat is orange.
Yeah, she definitely wears that outfit a couple of times. I like that one too. It's got a crop top. I'm a fan of those.
But once they're in the concert area and they can't see anything, they notice the redhead kid on the scaffold, which I don't know why he was up there, first of all, unless he was trying to run away from Scalper Man.
Well, he was also short, so.
In which case he kind of, cornered himself. And then the Starlight girls decide, you know what? Let's just all climb that thing as well.
Yep, I got a bad idea checklist, children at a concert, climbing a big scaffolding. They definitely hit up the beer tent. The little girls.
Definitely, of course.
Uh-huh. The reason that Bonnie hasn't been talking is because she's just wasted.
And that is our lead-in to song number 3 of the evening, I Am a Giant, which, if you couldn't guess, is a Misfits song about being gigantic.
Yep, I have written down, we know, Pizzazz, we know.
And Kristen, you were saying to me before that you do not like I Am a Giant.
Yeah, it's a shitty song. I said you might be surprised that there's a bad Misfits song, because we have a little bit of difference of opinions on when Misfits songs are a little bit bad, whether or not I think them being shitty wraps back around to them being really awesome. That is not the case with I Am a Giant. And like within seconds, Pizzazz grows much larger than the stadium and just starts wreaking havoc.
Yeah, the Misfits are like all kind of moving around on the stage and flailing, and I noticed that there's an empty drum kit behind them for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah,
They don't need it.
That's basically when Pizzazz throws down her guitar and turns into a fucking giantess. And a comet on the rise is, I believe, the lyric that is being said as she grows 20 stories tall, as she also says. From this point on, everything's in black and white, pretty much, other than Pizzazz herself or any important character.
It's a monster movie.
It's a monster movie, pretty much. Pizzazz is, just taking a little stroll through, like, a fucking city for no reason, and then notices Rio, I guess, in an apartment complex, and steals him.
It was at this point that I wrote down, oh my god, is this Pizzazz/Rio 4?
Please, no.
And I
no,
know we
no,
said
Kristen.
we weren't going to talk about that anymore, but
No.
that was what I thought, so I had to say the thing. Okay, we don't have to talk about it anymore. Pretend I didn't say anything.
Okay, no more about Gem 4. We're done there. But yeah, and Pizzazz crushes the Rockin' Roadster as well.
Who needs it?
Yeah, who needs a fucking car? We got a stupid U-Haul and a Misfits van that we never saw again since like the 3rd episode.
Yep.
Then the video basically turns into a King Kong reference at this point, because Pizzazz is climbing a big building. Gem and company are flying like shitty 1920s biplanes at Pizzazz, and that's pretty much it. Like, we don't get the ending of King Kong there, because obviously why would Pizzazz allow herself to be killed in her own music video?
Oh, of course not. I feel like Giantess Pizzazz has become like the equal to when such weird shit happens in a Gem and Holograms video. We don't really know what to say about it. The Anthony Julian on a Pegasus. I feel like that is a direct mirror of Giantess Pizzazz, because we've said that phrase tons of times before this, and now it's taken to its like literal conclusion.
Yeah, I know. I mentioned I Am a Giant once, where it's literally this is it. I don't know if this is like them getting all the, like, do you think Christy Marks was like, all right, I noticed you guys have been doing a lot of songs, and I have too. I'm also to blame, where Pizzazz grows like really tall. So can we just please write a song and like get it all out, get all your fucking
just shake it out,
get all your King Kong references out.
We need to come up with something new.
So if Pizzazz ever becomes gigantic again, we'll know that this song, did not work, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. That was the entire song was, I thought it was okay. I thought it was an okay Misfits song, but it was all imagery of Pizzazz being gigantic. The other Misfits were barely in the video at all, other than like at the very beginning. And
they died in the collapse of the stage.
well, now Pizzazz can go solo, which is probably what she wanted all along.
Yep.
Do you think Pizzazz is ever angry that like Gem gets to be in a group called Gem and the Holograms, and it's not Pizzazz and the Misfits?
I feel like she probably came up with the name The Misfits and is like too attached to her brand to really care.
Probably, like, because you know that she knows that she's bigger than the Misfits, literally.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But as far as actual things that Pizzazz does in the series, she really never actually shows. She shows less interest in going solo than Kimber does.
Which is interesting, but yeah, none of that happened in that music video. Literally none of that. It might have been played on a screen or something in like animation or whatever.
We filmed this in the studio.
They got over to the thing of Ultraman versus Dino Tank or whatever, and used that set from the Hollywood episode.
Yep.
Pretty much, we're at the very end of the episode here, which is Chrissy's scared all the way up on the scaffolding, and she's just like, I gotta get down. But then she takes the quick way down.
She's like, fuck this, and jumps. which isn't exactly what happens. And I'm like, this is a little bit contentious for me now because I feel like in an episode, probably in the next season, I'm pretty sure there is a whole thing where Chrissy and a couple of other people are up on something really high, and there's this shitbird kid who is also there, and he is afraid, and she's like, "You're fucking afraid, goddamn wuss." She probably doesn't say it like that, but
I mean, she's an orphan after all.
yeah, she mocks a boy for being scared about of heights, and I feel like this was implying that she's afraid of heights. Whatever.
I think so. It might have been, concerts are loud. The vibrations on the scaffolding were probably giving her bad vibes, and she's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
I feel like I want to go home. Also, I feel like Bonnie shouldn't be climbing this thing because she can't see where she's going.
It's amazing that Bonnie got up that far to begin with. We get the to be continued over Chrissy falling and like looking like she's gonna die. And it's been a while since we've seen it to be continued, and it's nice to see. It's not nice necessarily, but to see someone in actual peril is interesting, and not like ruined like in the the episode where Kimber explodes, and then we hear the motorcycle noise giving everything away about the next episode.
Yeah, I actually don't remember how Chrissy gets out of this fucking situation because she's in a pickle.
Well, it's better than I remembered because I could have sworn that the entire scaffold like fell down.
That's what I thought too. Maybe that does happen in the next episode. Like the entire thing shifts and they all get down like gently after Chrissy grabs onto something else.
Maybe or maybe that happens in your episode that you're thinking about. I didn't that's the thing. I was thinking like, how many possible episodes can there be kids like climbing a scaffolding that I'm just like, yeah, I think it all fell down.
If both of us think that, then I feel like that probably is what's going to happen at the beginning of the next episode. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But I don't know. That was part one of the music awards, and it had. Did we mention the music awards like more than 3 times maybe, other than the fact that it's like this ethereal thing that like, oh, it's something that has to happen?
Yeah, there were like no details given about it at all, whereas like even the benefit for Haven House kind of seemed like an actual thing that there were plans for, whereas with the music awards, like we don't know if they were supposed to like perform. I think Lindsay said there was some kind of shindig. I don't know if that was the actual award. I don't know if it has to do anything with who wins the award.
Yeah, I assume that
unanswered question.
When Lindsay says shindig, I think that means like the event itself.
I don't know.
But yeah, we got a lot of questions going into part 2 of the episode, and honestly, because there was nothing about like the music awards in this episode, I probably could have saved like the live on the red carpet shtick, but it already happened, so oh well.
So we'll have to think about something new next week. We have time.
Yeah, we have a lot of time. A lot of debuts in this episode. Tech Rat, Dance, Misfits Music, Redhead Kid.
No, real stayers.
Well,
Dude,
all of them are...
Come with us to the end.
All of them are real
stayers. I
stayers.
cannot believe Dance is in the series until season 3. God damn. Even Tech Rat doesn't last that long. I don't think.
It's been a while since I watched. I know Tech Rat shows up from time to time, but he's definitely... After a while, it just becomes Eric is just like, I don't need my sons anymore. I'm going to do my own evil plotting.
Yeah, we're going to lose poor Zipper in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's too bad.
May he rest in peace.
Went off to, fight the volcano gods in Volcano Hawaii heaven.
Fighting the good fight. God bless him.
But yep, it's debut of characters that we hate for different reasons. Do you hate Tech Rat?
Nothing Tech Rat.
Okay, because I don't know if I hate, but I severely dislike Dance. Mostly for
you dislike her more than I do. Which
one episode in the second season, which is just completely baffling. But we're not going to be there for a while, so
yeah, you will hear us scream about that when that happens.
But one thing I want to note is why didn't they go to Ashley first? Because Ashley was the last one to run away, and be like, Ashley, where did you go when you ran away? And she would have been like, the Misfits, and they would have been like, oh fuck, it's the Misfits, of course.
Because they don't. I started to say what I thought, and then I remembered it doesn't matter because no one else thinks.
Yeah, this was a shining example of nobody thinking at all in this episode.
Like, did other orphans, did anyone say anything to you?
Other than
like,
Chrissy,
did you see
maybe?
Something?
Chrissy probably thought, I guess.
Chrissy couldn't have done like a little extra detective work and been like, where are we going? The Misfits? Okay, I'm gonna write that down in my note.
Yeah, that probably would have been good. But, yep, nobody thought, other than Pizzazz, I guess, because she thought to, get into dick waving contest over a building across the street.
Yep. Nope. We just got unanswered questions, as we usually do at the end of every single episode.
But, yeah, whatever. Now's the time in the evening where I list off all of the fun things that you can reach us, where you could follow us on Twitter at cwtapod. You can follow me at Octopus, AWKTAPOD. CWTAPUS.
You can follow me at FunnyGirlTM, like trademark.
You can find us on the iTunes, on the SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, which actually, interesting to note, if you search Gem Podcast in Google, we're the fourth thing to show up, but it's only our Stitcher Radio link, which is weird.
That is strange. Our album art also by at Ignore the Robot on Twitter has not updated on iTunes yet, and I'm like thinking I might email them soon to be like, what the heck's the deal with that? Because it's updated on the app, but not on the actual iTunes like running application.
Which, again, this will probably be a non-problem by the time you listen to this anyway, so, whatever.
Yeah, we're fast workers. We work
Hey.
so fast, it happened in the past.
It's already done. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I'm a senior in college, give me a break.
And you can reach us at Gmail if you feel so inclined to Gmail us at cwtapod@gmail.com, where you can tell us about...
Like, comment, subscribe!
Like, comment, subscribe. Tell us about Runaway Orphans again. Or, if you ever turned into a giantess in your, delusions of grandeur.
Don't tell me about that, I don't want to know.
Yeah, just should not be spoken. We're not going to talk about giantesses anymore, hopefully. We're not going to talk about Gem Vor anymore, hopefully.
Oh, you said it!
I had to get it out there. I had to make it known. But yeah, no more and none of that. Next week is
If
part
we
two.
say that anymore, I'm gonna make you start censoring it.
Next week is part 2 of the music awards, which may as well be called the dance benefit concert for, for things that are more important than awards, I guess. And
For kids that can't read good and want to do other stuff good too. Timing references.
And the only thing I remember about the episode is the girls get into an even worse situation, like the orphan girls. And there's some there's some imagery that ends up very suggestive involving a picture of Deirdre, which I don't want to get too much into, but there we go.
I don't remember any of this shit.
And Pizzazz gets a laser gun, which I'm sure you do
I remember that. How
But,
could I forget?
But I hope you join us next time, where, we'll actually roll out the red carpet, probably. And for the Can We Talk About podcast, I am Joe.
I'm Kristen.
And, we'll talk about more Gem next time.